Romans 13 says, "Let every soul be subject to the governing authorities. For there is no authority except from God, and the authorities that exist are appointed by God. Therefore, whoever resists the authority resists the ordinance of God. And those who resist will bring judgment on themselves, for rulers are not a terror to good works, but to evil." There's a lot of misunderstanding regarding this passage. Over the last few months during this whole corona virus crisis and the government response to it, there's been heated debate over what these verses here in Romans 13 mean and how are we to follow them, because they do say we are to respect the authority, we are to submit to the authority, we shouldn't resist. And yet we find the authorities today telling us to do some very strange things. They're telling us to wear pieces of cloth on our faces, in stores, in public places, in church. They're telling us not to sing in church. They're telling us that we can't even go to church sometimes. They're saying online is just as good. You've got to worship online. The government is telling us these things. We're hearing some people suggesting that you have to be vaccinated to go to church. And a lot of Christians are wondering, well, we have to obey the authority, don't we? Well, there is a principle here. It's very clear. God puts the rulers in place in this world, whether prime ministers, presidents, governors, premiers, mayors. They're there by the permission of God. Does that mean that they're all fine, upstanding people? No. Sometimes he puts some people in place who are quite corrupt, who are quite vile, and they're there for his purposes, maybe for judgment, maybe for some other purpose that we do not know. But we are still to respect them, to submit to them. But that doesn't mean we obey every little commandment or decree that they issue. And when we look at this passage, I think it's very clear, because the Apostle Paul, he says that these authorities are there to praise those who do good and to punish those who do evil. He says, do you want to be unafraid of the authority? Do what is good, and you will have praise from the same. And then he says, but if you do evil, be afraid, for he does not bear the sword in vain. So, in other words, we don't have to be afraid. If we're doing what's right, if we're obeying what God has commanded in his word, if we're doing good, we're worshiping, we're gathering together with the saints, we're doing fellowship, we're serving the poor, we're visiting the sick, we're doing all those good things that our Lord has commanded us to do. Whether we choose to wear a mask or not, we're doing those things. If we're doing those good things, we are obeying God, the ultimate authority. And I believe the lesser authorities maybe in this moment will be upset. Maybe they will, in fact, persecute us. But I think in the end, we'll be vindicated. And our witness will shine through. And we will be rewarded. Maybe not here in this life, but we will be rewarded in heaven for doing what is good. And certainly in terms of church, the Bible doesn't say that we are to have two classes of Christians, those with masks, those without, those who are vaccinated, those who aren't. We are not to segregate in the church. In fact, they tried that in the first century, Jews and Gentiles. There were some Judaizing Christians who were saying, well, we got to keep these two different types of Christians separate. Well, no, God said that is not his plan. He has one church, one faith, one baptism, and we are all to be equal, and we're all to be together. So there's no place in the church for these types of kind of artificial divisions. So when we are looking at a passage like Romans 13, let's keep in mind we don't have to be afraid if we're doing what is good. The authorities that are here on this earth, they were placed there to reward the good and punish the evil. So if we're doing good, we're not doing evil, then we're good to go. God bless you.